Nike have ignored nearly everything Caitlin Clark has done.
Do they have some like secret plan to like not promote her?
Why are none of their accounts saying anything about this? Nike seems to be continuing to fumble the bag when it comes to Caitlin.
I mean, that's crazy. What is going on?
Caitlin Clark just made headlines again, but this time it wasn't for a buzzer beater or a record-breaking stat line. It was for something much louder. Her silence, and even more shockingly, Nike's.
But I have a feeling that the people around Caitlin Clark are probably pissed about that deal.
We're done with nothing from Nike. If I was a shareholder, I'd be pissed.
After her explosive return to Iowa, the stage was set. The cameras were rolling, the fans were watching, and every major brand had one job: celebrate their star. But while the basketball world lit up, Nike stayed completely silent. No campaign, no tribute, not even a post.
Imagine having a CC as a brand and saying, we have the most marketable athlete right now in America, but we don't want to market her.
Fans didn't just notice the silence, they erupted over it. But the anger wasn't just aimed at Nike. It zeroed in on one person: Caitlin's own agent.
Her agent. You're there to get on these companies' asses when they're not using your client or treating your client right.
How does the biggest name in women's basketball get ghosted by her sponsor, and her representative stays quiet? That's what fans wanted to know. Why wasn't her agent holding Nike accountable? Where was the fight for Caitlin's brand?
Nike is a big company. Why is it that you can't endorse Caitlin Clark? I know why y'all don't want to, because it will be ridiculous and embarrassing.
Social media exploded. Comment sections lit up, and tweets went viral calling her agent passive, disconnected, and dangerously out of touch with what Caitlin Clark actually represents.
Worst agent in the world. Worst agent in the history of talent agents. It's crazy. It really is, and people are done.
Some fans even demanded her agent be fired. Others went further, accusing her of letting Caitlin's most important career moment slip away. This wasn't just a missed endorsement, it was a missed statement. And Caitlin's supporters weren't about to stay quiet, while brands profit off her name without showing her the respect she's earned.
You're not acting like she's singular. That's the problem. And a lot of people have noticed that.
Let's be clear, Caitlin's return to Iowa wasn't just a basketball game. It was a cultural event, the kind that comes with fireworks, full arenas, and millions watching from home. A superstar's homecoming.
People were so excited that Caitlin Clark would be returning to her alum, to Iowa, to play at Carver Hawkeye Arena.
And yet, Nike, the brand that signed her, that's supposed to stand behind her, offered nothing. No clips, no celebration, not even a single social media post.
This morning or yesterday, while the WNBA's tweeting out about Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever's tweeting out, where the hell is Nike?
Now contrast that with Gatorade. The moment Caitlin hit the court, they had commercials queued up, posts flying across every platform, and messages of support pouring in. They did what a sponsor is supposed to do: show up.
Where are you, Nike? They didn't put out shit. Nike basketball or Nike. Nothing on social media.
Gatorade celebrated her moment. Nike vanished. And in the world of high-stakes branding, that kind of silence isn't just noticeable, it's deafening. Fans started flooding Nike's accounts, tagging them non-stop with one question: why are you ignoring Caitlin Clark? Where is the support?
That some of her sponsors would want to show her support on social media. They tweeted a photo of her and they said, "Real home court advantage. Welcome back to Iowa, Caitlin Clark."
Nike didn't just miss a marketing opportunity. They blew the biggest moment of the year. And fans, they didn't hold back. The outrage was instant, aggressive, and absolutely relentless. Even Nike shareholders reportedly started asking questions. How do you drop the ball on the most talked about athlete in women's basketball?
And then why is at Nike not treating her like they are marketing other players? Every players in the league are getting advantages of CeCe's momentum except for Caitlyn.
This wasn't just a misfire, it felt like a deliberate snub. Caitlin Clark isn't just another rising star. She's the reason people who've never watched the WNBA are suddenly tuning in. She's the reason the league is shattering viewership records. She is the moment.
Where she moves markets. And when you've got someone who moves markets, you have to pay attention to that person. More people watch this preseason game than game 1 of last year's WNBA finals.
And yet, when the RE call you, spotlight should have been on her. Nike disappeared. Not one tweet, not a highlight, nothing. The frustration only intensified as fans compared it to Nike's full-blown marketing blitzes for male athletes or polarizing political figures.
Caitlin Clark has done is grown the WNBA exponentially. She did in 5 weeks what would have taken 5 years. And as it pertains to draft viewership, she did in 5 days what would have taken 5 years.
They remembered campaigns that were bold, global, and inescapable. But Caitlin? She couldn't even get a 10-second clip of her return to Iowa. To her supporters, this wasn't just tone-deaf. It felt personal. And worse, it came not from haters or rivals, but from her own sponsor.
Understand, there's a massive opportunity with this WNBA basketball player that actually is bringing people in that are basketball fans in general, and they're bringing in the casual fan, which has never happened. By the way, you don't believe me? Look at the WNBA ratings for these other games so far.
Nike was supposed to be the brand that amplified Caitlin Clark. That helped build her legacy. Instead, they turned their backs, and fans weren't having it. Not for 1 second.
Lead sponsors that was noticeably quiet yesterday was Nike. And a lot of people were tweeting about this. They were wondering, why isn't Nike and Nike basketball, why are none of their accounts saying anything about this? Yes, it's a preseason game, but this is a huge day for Caitlin. She's returning to her alum. Who knows when she will play there again? And she hit a 36-foot three-pointer.
As the outrage built, fans looked even closer, not just at Nike, but at someone even more connected to Caitlin's future. Her agent, Erin Kane. In sports, an agent isn't just a deal maker. They're a guardian, a bulldog, a champion when the lights go out. And right now, Caitlin needed a fighter.
We have the easiest money we can make, the easiest promotion, but we good.
Where is Nike? Has there ever been a bigger ball drop in the history of athletes than what they have done with Caitlin Clark? Do they not understand?
But when it was time to speak up, Kane came forward with bland praise. At the Breaking Barriers Summit, she called Caitlin singular and said there was a lot of excitement around her. That's it. No demands, no pressure, no fire.
The reason this is happening is they're scared of the old WNBA fandom. The very people that are mad at all you Caitlin Clark fans, Nike doesn't want to make mad.
For fans expecting a fierce defense, her words landed with a thud. There was no pushback against Nike, no call for change, no urgency, just another corporate shrug. And for many, that was the final straw.
Caitlin Clark's agent, Erin Kane, she said she's singular. Yeah, but the problem is you're not putting the pressure on these companies to use her right, most notably Nike.
Social media turned savage. Fans labeled Kane passive, out of touch, and even accused her of tanking Caitlin's value. Some said she was the worst agent in sports history. Others pointed to the numbers. Caitlin's Nike deal is estimated at $28 million, but experts believe it should be double or triple that. Yet her agent? No renegotiation, no outrage, no fight, just silence.
I think it's all about money, marketing, and we cannot deny what Caitlin Clark has done for the women's game. I'm not going to act like it's something that we don't see. She's had a huge effect, called the Caitlin Clark effect.
And that silence gave Nike a free pass, because when the person paid to protect Caitlin Clark won't raise, their voice Why should the brand bother? That's how legacies get mismanaged. That's how greatness gets dimmed. And that's exactly what fans are trying to stop. Because Caitlin Clark isn't just another star. She's a generational force. And she deserves an advocate who fights like she plays, with everything they've got.
If I was the WNBA, I would have considered a separate television package to a network on just Caitlin Clark games. I would have had two packages, the WNBA package, and then a separate, let's say, 15 to 18 game Caitlin Clark package.
State Farm Arena was packed, and everyone knew why. It's the Caitlin Clark effect. The best shooter in the country, the biggest name in women's hoops. She's not just breaking records, she's rewriting what's possible. The WNBA was struggling for attention, and then came Caitlin. But instead of capitalizing on this surge, her own agent let the moment pass. No accountability, no urgency, just the same recycled compliments. And for fans who've stood by her, that silence felt like betrayal, because when the person paid to protect Caitlin Clark lets a global brand ghost her, it sends one painful message. She's on her own. But the fans? They weren't about to let that happen.
Pretty exciting. One of the big reasons fans flock to State Farm Arena is, of course, the Caitlin Clark effect.
The best player in America, the best shooter in America. Watch her play. She plays at a high level.
She's going to break records nonstop for the next couple years.
She's the only one capable of taking nothing and making it something. The WNBA was nothing before Caitlin Clark.
What started as frustration exploded into a movement. Online forums turned into war rooms. Twitter, Instagram, comment sections, all lit up with one demand: accountability. If Caitlin's inner circle wouldn't go to battle for her, then her fans would. Loudly.
Caitlin Clark, what she's doing doesn't minimize what they've done, but we should have been giving her the credit. We saw the ratings, we saw the merchandise sales, we saw the attendance, but y'all want to make it about something else. Oh, what about the women that laid the foundation? What about this? What about it? That ain't got nothing to do with Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is box office. She's doing this.
Nike's comment sections were flooded. Tag after tag, fans demanded answers. Why are you ignoring Caitlin Clark? Where's the campaign? Gatorade is doing your job for you. But this wasn't just social media noise, it was coordinated pressure. Major fan pages, respected sports voices, and even former athletes joined in. They shared receipts, showed comparisons, and put Nike's silence under a national spotlight.
She's an incredibly hard worker. She's a high IQ player. She's a perfectionist. Like, she wants to get better. She lives in the gym. And so you knew that growth was going to take place, and having the opportunity to watch her on a daily basis and how she approaches the work. Like, there are work ethics and there are work styles, right? And a work style of not wasting reps, of not wasting time, of being very intentional about a growth process.
Fans didn't stop with Nike. They zeroed in on Caitlin's C, agent Erin Kane. Every statement she made was picked apart. The verdict? She wasn't doing her job. Where's the fight? One user asked. Where's the leadership? Another post went viral. Caitlin Clark is the most important player in the WNBA, and somehow she has the weakest contract and the worst representation. Thousands agreed.
They will recognize, her game, but they won't recognize her impact.
Caitlin Clark is the GOAT.
She signed my jersey. So happy, I'm crying. I'm so happy. This is the best day ever.
Caitlin Clark effect seems to be crazier than year one.
This wasn't just a bad deal. It was sabotage. Fans begged her to fire her agent and find someone who actually understands her value. The data is undeniable. Caitlin's games are pulling NBA-level numbers, selling out arenas, and attracting millions of new fans. She's changing the sport, and yet the people around her are letting brands ride her success without giving her the spotlight she deserves. That's not just disrespectful. It's outrageous.
That's why she's so incompetent. Caitlin Clark still has the worst contract in sports history. No doubt. I mean, she let Nike off very light.
I was Caitlin Clark, I would call my agent and I would have them get in touch with some lawyers, and I will be trying to get out of that Nike deal as fast as I can because they've been disrespectful.
Some fans went a step further. They called for Caitlin to walk away from Nike altogether. Why stay loyal to a brand that won't show up for you? One fan posted. They started tagging Adidas, Under Armour, Puma, urging them to step up. This wasn't just fandom. It was a rebellion. A declaration. If Nike won't treat Caitlin like the generational star she is, someone else should.
Caitlin Clark has the charisma, she has the personality, and she has the star power, and she has the statistics and the actual on-court talent to back everything up.
Because this is bigger than one missed endorsement. It's about value, respect, representation. Caitlin Clark earned her moment. She didn't ask for this drama. She earned the spotlight through relentless hard work. But when the cameras turned on, her sponsors stepped back, and her agent stayed quiet. And fans, they saw that. They felt it. And they refused to accept it.
She's my role model. I really look up to her.
Why do you like Caitlin?
And she's so good at basketball. Because she's that awesome person, and she has like a lot of aura, so like.
In the end, it wasn't Nike. It wasn't her agent. It was her fans who became her fiercest defenders. They made noise. They demanded answers. They carried the message that her team failed to deliver. In doing so, they exposed a power shift, one where fans don't just cheer, they fight. For visibility, for respect, for justice. Caitlin may have been abandoned by the people who should have lifted her up, but she has something even stronger now. A loyal, tireless, unstoppable community.
The fact that it is so prevalent in mainstream highlights that we're talking about it here shows the growth of the sport, shows the power of Caitlin Clark, shows you how many more people.
Here's the bottom line. Nike fumbled. Her agent failed. But Caitlin, she's still ascending. Because greatness doesn't need permission.
She could potentially be one of the best point guards to ever play in the WNBA.
And I want to personally thank Caitlin Clark for lifting up our sport.
And true fans don't wait for brands to catch up. They lead. So, to anyone not ready to support Caitlin Clark, step aside. Her legacy won't be decided by the people who didn't see it. It'll be built by the ones who never stopped believing.